In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to UV unwrap a character head. We'll specifically be using the monkey named Suzanne that comes with Blender, and she's Blender's mascot. And for the main reason that she shares elements of most character heads, a skull, ears, a typical face, the mask of the face, eyes, nose, and mouth. Even though she is modeled in a very stylized way, she has those basic components. So let's get started. Just a word of note, I will be doing two versions of this video. This one will be a simpler version that lets you just get right to it. And the second one will be a little bit more advanced for those people that are feeling very comfortable with the first version and they want to get more out of the process and go a step further. There will be an extra added step. Okay, so I've set up my interface. I split my window into two so I can see a UV image editor, just like we've done in class. And in my 3D window, I press T to hide the toolbar. Okay, so I'm going to tab into edit mode, and I'm going to deselect all, and then I'm going to press Control Tab and get into edge mode. So the basic idea is that we want to split the skull. So we want to mark seams going down the across the top. You can see here I'm starting right here at the top of the skull, and I'm just shift right clicking and going down the back of the skull. And for now I'm going to stop at the base of the jaw here. I'm going to go ahead and press Control E. I'm going to choose Mark Seam, and you'll see that now those marked seams are colored. So now if I press A and then U to unwrap, and I choose unwrap, you'll see that over here on the UV editor. It unwraps pretty well. Okay, so I'm going to deselect all in the 3D window, and you'll notice again that all the UVs disappear. The way to make them show up is to come down here to the bottom of the UV window and press the sync button, and that looks like a little cube with a mouse pointer and two vertices. Okay, so now I can see my UV layout, and the monkey head looks pretty good with just a couple of problems. First of all, the ears. The ears are probably the biggest mess. You can see that they didn't unwrap really well. There's some overlapping of UVs here. They just don't look so great. Okay, the eyes look pretty good. The face looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and tackle the ears. So the way to deal with any appendages like ears, or if you're doing a whole body, it would be the arms or the legs, the feet, the hands, the fingers, is to go ahead and pop them off. So I'm just going to go ahead and select this edge here that connects the ear to the skull, and then I'm going to again shift click and just go around and deselect it. Again, if you're new to 3D, it might take a couple times for you to just rotate around and just kind of get used to selecting these. But if you do it correctly, you should end up with a closed loop. And so just, again, go slowly, connect the dots, so to speak, and just double check it. What you can always do is you can press the letter Z and you can get into wireframe mode and just check and make sure that you actually made a closed shape. And you can see here highlighted in green, I have a pretty nice closed loop shape. Okay, so once I'm pretty happy with that, again, Control E to mark seams. I'll then press A twice so I can deselect and select all, U to unwrap and unwrap. And you'll see here that now I have a nice clean gap right here where the ear has been removed and there's a hole, and over here the ear is flattened out, and it's not a good flattening out, so we need to do one more step. So what I like to do is I'm going to separate the front of the ear from the back of the ear. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start right here and select this edge and just keep going around, and I'm going to keep going all the way around like this, and finished. Okay, so again, Control E, mark seams, select all, unwrap, Okay, and now you can see that I've got the ear here. I've got the front of the ear here on the right, and I've got the back of the ear here on the left-hand side. And of course, I can select these and I can reposition them and get them ready to paint inside Krita. One last step that I'm going to do, and I could have done this before, but I'm going to do it now just to make it a little clearer, is I don't like my UV islands to be separate if I can avoid it. I think it makes it much more organized. If they're related, they should be close to each other, and so these ear parts are related, they're next to each other, so that works, but I want to actually connect them. So what I like to do is I like to make a hinge, and to make a hinge all I need to do is select an edge here. So I'm going to take this edge here and I'm going to press Control E and I'm going to choose Clear Seam. So now there's not going to be a cut right here, and now when I unwrap that again, you'll see that now the ear front and the ear back are hinged together. They are connected. So they will travel around together, and I can rotate them and scale them together, and better yet, I can paint on them together. So that works really well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording, and I'm going to do the other ear, which is the exact same as the first ear. If you need more practice, please rewind the video and watch the ear again, and I'll come back when the second ear is done. Okay, so we're back, and you can see the two ears are now unwrapped over here. Okay, so to finish up this UV, taking a look at the face or the head here, the skull, you'll notice that the forehead all comes to this single point right here, this single UV or vertex right here. On the bottom, you'll see that it does a similar thing where it all comes to this point right here. And generally, that means that it's going to pinch a little bit, and when there's pinching, it means that basically the texture is going to be distorted or stretched, and it won't look good. So the way to alleviate that and fix that is to come over to the 3D model, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select on the top forehead, I'm going to select these two edges right here, and I'm going to do Control E and mark those seams. And what that's going to do is it's going to cut right here, and it's going to basically spread out the object, and it's going to make it what's called more relaxed. On the bottom of the chin, I'm going to mark this seam, and then I'm going to go ahead and select these here. So I'm selecting a total of 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, Control E, mark seam, and there we go. So I'm sort of making a T shape. And what that should do is spread it out. So let's select all, U to unwrap, unwrap. Okay, and there we go. So now you can see that the face widens a little bit, the head widens a little bit. Let's see if I can undo that so you can see. Yeah, so here's the before, where it's kind of, everything's tight, and you can see everything's really close to each other. The mouth, if you really notice the mouth, watch the bottom part of the face here and see that. And there we go. Okay, so now watch this. I'll go ahead now and re-unwrap it, and watch the right-hand side. You'll see how the face now gets bigger and wider, so it's just a nicer, better object to paint on. Okay, so to finish this up, I'm going to then rearrange my UV window so that it's easy enough for me to export out of Blender and get into a paint program. So what I'm going to do right now is I need to select these islands, and I can shift right click and select on all these vertices here, which is a huge pain in the butt. I can press B and box select, and I can select a whole bunch of things, which is faster and easier, but also still kind of a pain in the butt. So what I'm going to do is, and I can switch to face mode, so I can press Control Tab, switch to face mode, and again that lets me select them faster, box select, and that's a little easier. Hands down, the easiest way to select these is I can use what's called island mode, and what you have to do is island mode is only available if you turn off the sync feature. So I'm going to turn off the sync feature, and that makes these disappear. So now I have to come over here and I have to press A and select all. Once I see all of them over here, so I need to leave them always selected over here. And once they're selected, now they appear over here. Okay, now when I press Control Tab, you'll see that not only do I have vertex, edge, and face mode, but I now have a fourth island mode. And when I choose island mode, I can now right click and I can select an entire island. Just a single click, and it makes life so much easier. My only wish was that island mode existed when you had the sync button turned on. Okay, so I'm going to select the head and I'm going to simply press S and scale that down. I'm going to grab it and put it over here. I'm going to select the ears, and I'm going to go ahead and press R and rotate it. And I'm just going to rotate it and grab it and position it right about the way I'd want to paint it in a paint program. So, maybe something like that. Now there's a trick that you can do here where I can rotate this one here. And there's a trick, it's a little bit more advanced, but I can take these UVs and I can actually flip them and I can put them right on top of this island right here. And if they're on top of each other, then I can actually paint it once and I get it done twice. The only disadvantage of doing that is that both ears will be exactly the same. So you kind of have to know in advance if you want to make them the same. So for this demo, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put them right close to each other. I'm going to shift click and select both of them and scale them down a little bit. Ears don't need to be that detailed. Okay, so the eyes, I'm going to put a little bit of space in between the eyes and select both and just grab them and move them a little bit further in. Okay, and last but not least, the face is absolutely the most detailed, most important island here, so it should be the biggest island. So I'm going to go ahead, scale it up, make sure that it stays inside. Okay, and there we go. So that is my rearranged island unwrapping, and that'll work. It's not the absolute best, but it works really well. Okay, the very final step would be how to export this out of Blender so that you could paint it in a paint program. So I'm going to select all the islands. I'm going to come down here to the UVs window, and I'm going to choose Export UV Layout. I'm going to make sure I'm selecting my desktop, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to name the ping file. So I'm going to go ahead and call this UV Monkey Demo, and I'll call it Unwrap. And again, keep the .ping because you want your computer to know what it is, and click on Export UV Layout. All right, that is it for this one. I will create another video tutorial that adds in an extra step that is more advanced. It is a better step to add in. So if you can watch it and you understand it, great. If not, and this is what you are ready for, this method, then that works as well. So good luck.